Cafe Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 953. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont. Today, it's the return of the much-loved segment, the Cassette Cubbyhole. We're going to hear an old interview I did with one of the best and original singer-songwriters in country music from the 90s, a guy named Radney Foster.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
He also hosted the CMT Country Crossroads TV show. Am I an imposter?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Because I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Well, I have to say I love this time of year. Even though my birthday is drawing near, I like to see all the pumpkins everywhere and people making their front porches into haunted houses. So weird. And the glut of new shows and new episodes I have no time to watch.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And rediscovering my sweaters because the mornings get so cold. I stop
Mike's
in my tracks.
Daily
Then the heat kicks in.
Podcast.
And I'm hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's generally how things work. I'm learning things. Oh, and also, it's time to bring you my really important... Wait, what do we call this segment?
Mike's Absolutely Useless Review.
That's right. It's my review of the TV show Doctor Who, the latest season. They just did this thing in the last episode where because Peter Capaldi had played other roles on Doctor Who before becoming Doctor Who. And in the last episode, they explained how he became Doctor... Why they justified that. Which they really have never done that before. Because there have been past doctors. Colin Baker had been a cast member on one of the shows before he became Doctor Who. They never explained why. So now they've gone back and... Which is sort of the thing. So Stephen Moffat does Doctor Who now. Before him was Russell T Davies. Russell did the same sort of thing when he explained how the actress that... Oh, I forgot her name. On Torchwood, the Asian crew member of Torchwood. She was also in an episode of Doctor Who back when Christopher Eccleston was the Doctor, and they explained that. They actually went back and explained why she could be in both things at the same time. I'm getting a little perturbed with podcasters that suck. All right, I'm not the best, definitely, but I was listening to this podcast called Phone Boy Speaks. And I liked it because it was informative. The guy that does it is totally smart with the world of technology. I like to hear about technology. I'm sort of a doofus when it comes to it, but I'm fascinated by it because I love podcasting and I love a lot of the things that the internet world is creating, like apps that allow you to listen to podcasts and listen to the show wherever you go. But this guy, he does this thing where he podcasts every day. But when he does, he'll do a short little podcast. What gets me, though, is he doesn't get to the point. He gets to the point early on, and then he fills the rest of it. For some reason, he thinks he has to talk at a really fast clip. Like, he has to talk, hi, it's welcome to Phone Boy. Phone Boy Speaks. Okay, this is exactly how he sounds. Okay, and this is right. So he says right a lot, and he says a lot of, and all these, like, filler words, like, and, yeah, and filler, and, That just made me explode. So I would tell you to listen to the show, but you might get frustrated like I do. And there are a lot of podcasters... Ladies and gentlemen of the podcasting world, be aware of your filler words. Anyway, as I use my big filler word, because it's cafe anyway. And look who just walked in.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Shelly, Q Heart, the gift shop supervisor. Oh my god, it's like so wonderful because it's Friday and the leaves are falling. And October is the greatest month in the world.
I agree. I love October. The The most wonderful... Gosh, Shelley Shuhart, we're so of the same mind. It's weird how that is.
I know, it's kind of strange and creepy.
That's true. Oh, look who else just walked in. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer, Mike. I just heard the new Adele. Adele is back. Yes. Thank goodness. We had missed her for so... Yes, and she will be calling her next album what her age is, 25. Because she's so far done that. Whenever she's put out an album, she's marked it with the age that she is. The last thing she did was the Skyfall theme. That did not become a huge hit. It got a lot of airplay because everybody was like, oh, it's the new Adele. It's the James Bond movie. But I think it was a little too James bondagey for the radio listening public and the programmers who like to fill up the radio content airwaves with nothing but Taylor Swift. So the new song it definitely has her style, has her singing style. I would play it for you right now, but you're going to hear it everywhere you go for the next 3 years. Actually longer, 5 years. It's just going to be played. Every song she comes out with gets played over and over again. Fire to the Rain, Gonna Find Someone Like You, etc. But yeah, it sounds good. I don't mind that this song is some song I'm going to hear over and over again. I hope it at some point pushes, say something, I'm giving up on you off the radio. That, well, I know there are like not a huge amount of stations that play that still, but, or maybe they are. I don't know, I'm using a lot of fillers right now. Mike, fillers are good! Pink slime! Ooh, that's a McDonald's filler. Let's not go there. But let's go here and tell you that you can go to our website, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, and find out where to listen to us in all kinds of places. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker. What's this one I haven't said in a long time? Did I say I haven't said Mixcloud, have I? Podomatic, Player FM, Ameristream Live, TuneIn. That's one. There's a TuneIn app that allows you to listen to a bunch of radio stations. But it also gives you a bunch of podcasts. It's not like iHeartRadio where it's mostly Clear Channel stations. This is like a huge swath of stations from all around the globe. And then we're on SoundCloud, YouTube, and iTunes. If you like this show, please make sure to comment and rate this show and rank it in iTunes, and then more people find out about us and we don't languish in obscurity as much. And this weekend I will be on Country Crossroads Radio. Not Country Crossroads CMT's Country Crossroads, which Radney Foster hosted for a while. And he would interview the country and rock stars that would be paired together for that TV show. I am actually going to be... It's Country Crossroads Radio, which plays a lot of old country, some of the new stuff, a little bit of bro country, and a lot of Americana stuff. So it's a very fun station to listen to, and I'm going to be on there this weekend, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific time. There's also where we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Yelp, Tumblr, all those links at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, as well as if you want to help us out on, if you're going to buy anything on Amazon, go through that link before you buy anything, and that helps us out. If you want to become an inglorious Mike's Daily Podcaster and have all the characters here from Cafe Anyway send you a special greeting, go there to MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. And there's also the blog, the Daily Podcast picture, and all my past interviews are there. And now we go back in time to August of 2002 is what it was. We were just coming upon the 1-year anniversary of September 11th. It had only been 1 year since that had happened. And a lot of country stars were cashing in on the whole patriotism bug that was going on. Everybody was so patriotic. Toby Keith had the song courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. The Dixie Chicks were still around. We actually mentioned the Dixie Chicks then. This is before the big Natalie Maines faux pas, saying on foreign soil that she thought the president was an idiot in the time of war, even though you hear all kinds of Obama bashing everywhere you go, especially on the AM radio dial nowadays. But back then, I guess it was you weren't supposed to criticize the president because we were at war. So The Dixie Chicks were still around. They were just about to release their album Home, which would be their last really big album. And we talk about that. Radney Foster contributed a song that was on that album. Radney Foster, a singer-songwriter who was with a band called Foster and Lloyd. At one point in our interview, he actually plays a bunch of songs that were popular on country radio that still get played on country radio. I'll probably play some on Country Crossroads Radio this weekend. He also is, well, he did also kind of cash in on the whole patriotism thing. He had a song called Everyday Angels. But he talks about, he took it from a different angle, different side. He wanted to acknowledge, well, everybody was writing about September 11th at that time, as well as Bruce Springsteen had an album. The Rising had a lot to do with that. So come back with me, back in time, to a little over 13 years ago, to when, geez, seems like a lifetime ago. And well, Radney Foster, the cassette cubbyhole, another interview that I saved on cassette, so I hope you enjoy the fantastic audio quality.
Mike's cassette cubbyhole.
Radney Foster. Radney Foster. Hello, Radney.
Hey, man. How are you?
We just got on the MAP bus and drove out to the Kehei Santa Fe Cafe, and here we are now. And it's an absolute pleasure to meet you. As I told you, I met your partner in crime from the early days, Bill Lloyd. He came by a couple of years back, and I always thought it would be so neat to meet Radney Foster, and now you're here, and it's cool. It's cool.
Thanks very much.
And you've got a new CD. It's called Another Way to Go.
It comes out September 10th.
September 10th. And it's on Dual Tone.
Yeah.
Which recently had huge success with Riding with Private Malone with
David Ball.
With David Ball.
That's a pretty cool deal. I actually, I own the record and lease it to him. I started my own little record company in my own basement about the same time they were starting theirs, and so we joined forces. And we're called Pure Spunk, and they're called Dual Tone, and it works out pretty well.
You're called what Spunk?
Pure Spunk.
Pure Spunk.
Yeah. The name of our label.
How did you get inspired to be Pure Spunk?
I have a little boy who was at the time a year old, and we used to call him Spunky.
Is he in any of your videos?
No, he's not. But my oldest boy actually just got through filming the new video with me for the new single off of the album, Everyday Angel.
Those are all real people in that song.
Yeah, I was really inspired. I was actually in an airplane on September 11th when all that stuff went down, which is a whole nother story in of itself. I mean, that is one of the scariest moments of my life. It's pretty bizarre. But in any case, I have two friends who are alive and well because of the heroism of the firefighters and policemen of New York City, who were in the World Trade Center and got out just fine.
Wow.
But anyway, and that really started me, and it took me about 3 or 4 days to find out if these people were alive or dead and all of those kinds of issues. And so that really got me to thinking about just how, people go and they go to their jobs, or they do the volunteer work that they do. Ordinary people doing, what they just consider to be the right thing. And that all of that sometimes adds up to really heroic stuff. And there was a woman who was really neat, who went to church with my wife and I, and my oldest boy moved to France with his mom when he was 5 years old. And right about that time, when he was 5, it was just a really difficult time. And this little 80-year-old grandmother was really, really sweet to me and my son, and just kind of let me know that it was okay and that I was still going to be his dad. And it was really wonderful rapport with my son as well. And so anyway, I didn't think anything about her other than that she was a little grandmother. And then a couple of years later, she passed away. And at her funeral, she had done all this amazing stuff that I found out about at her funeral. I mean, she had started the Feed the Homeless program at 70 years of age after she'd retired at our church. Wow. She had been involved in the civil rights movement in Alabama in the 60s and had been, done tremendous things like that. She had taught school at Tuskegee Institute, and the guys who were in the Commodores didn't have enough money for instruments, but they started playing at her piano in her front parlor, and she would let them set up and rehearse in her living room. And then once they got instruments, they brought all their instruments into her house and rehearsed in her living room.
Oh, my gosh.
And they never forgot her. A couple of guys were at the funeral, and they told how they would send a limo for her, and she'd show up, when she would... After she'd retired, she moved to Nashville, and when they would come play Nashville, they'd send a limo, and she'd be in her little church dress, with the big hat and the purse, and sitting down in the front row, and they'd be banging away at Brick House or something, and so a pretty neat lady. I mean, really pretty wonderful. And so I remembered her, and I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to write the first verse about her. She was really an everyday angel to me and my family. And the second verse is about an incident when I was a kid. My dad was a lawyer in a small town in West Texas, and he represented this woman in this horribly sticky divorce. It was just a big mess and really awful, and she had no place to turn. I mean, she literally had no place to live, and so she came and she lived with us for about 6 or 8 months. And at the time, I was a 12, 13-year-old kid. I didn't think anything about it. But now, I've got 3 kids of my own, and I go, oh my gosh, this was a huge sacrifice on my parents' part to open up your home to someone so needy and to try to maintain a family life and that kind of thing at the same time. And so I thought, well, that's a good second verse right there. And the third verse is about a guy named Dave Fontana who lived down the street from a really dear friend of mine who lives in Brooklyn. And September the 11th he was a firefighter, and September the 11th was his anniversary, and he had worked a double shift the night before so that he could get off and spend his anniversary with his wife and his boy. And he, the alarms went off, and he got the call right at the shift change, and he got on the truck and went to Ground Zero and never came back.
Wow.
And, I thought, he and a lot of other guys are really the reason that my friends are still alive.
Right.
So I owe the guy a lot, and I figured the least I could do is write a song about it.
Oh, Another Way to Go is what the album is called.
Yeah, and it comes out September the 11th, but if you go to radneyfoster.com and you pre-order it from us, you can go down September 11th, go down and buy it in a store and that kind of thing. That's cool too. But if you want to, you can pre-order it from us, and if you do, I autograph them. They come autographed. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I sit at home for about a week before they all get shipped out, and just every time I'm watching television or the news or anything, I autograph CDs all day.
You seriously sit there and pick the old Sharpie and...
Oh yeah, man! I get a little assembly line with my wife and kids, and they all open them up, and I'm the signing booklets and sticking them back in the thing,
All right. First off, I want to say, how come every time you say your name, it comes out sounding Randy, and when I say it, I say Radney?
Because it is Radney. Radney, R-A-D-N-E-Y.
Okay,
Radney, yeah.
Can you play us some of the songs that you have?
You bet, man.
Okay.
Just call me lonesome, heartbroken and some, 'cause I ain't got no one since you've been gone. You call me baby, now I've got a new name. I don't need my old one, call me lonesome from now on. And then there's, let's see.
He wrote that, everybody. He sang it. Woohoo!
Also I wrote for Colin Ray. This one is like, anyone else would have been long gone, packed it up and headed back home, and not a soul would blame you after what I put you through. Yeah, anyone else would have gone insane, call the game on account of rain. Anyone else, anyone but you. And then Foster and Lloyd was
Foster and Lloyd.
Can't you tell by the spell that I'm under? This fella's wondering if I'll ever get next to you. Is there a chance of getting through? Well, you never seem to notice me, no matter what I do, when everybody in town knows I'm crazy over you. And then, let's see, Holly Dunn, if you want to go way back.
It's like a mini concert. I'm getting a Radney Foster concert here on KHAY, the KH Santa Fe Cafe.
This was her first number one hit.
Oh, this is an awesome song.
That dancing moon is on the water. Do you feel inclined romantically? If you do, I think you ought to love someone like me. And then, let's see.
That's such a cool melody.
The biggest one that most people know.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
No. Can I Be Married, Chapin Carpenter?
Oh, sure, man. Nobody wins, we both lose. Hearts get broken and love gets bruised. We light that same old fuse again and again. Nobody wins, slamming doors. We both lost this fight before, and I won't play that game no more, 'cause nobody wins.
Nobody wins.
Cool.
She kind of wails in the
She
background.
does wail in the background.
That's
man,
hot.
big time.
All right, and now you're singing with Shelley Wright.
That woman is just so gorgeous and so talented and such a wonderful person.
She is. She's so sweet. She radiates sweetness and beauty. And how did this song come about in this collaboration?
Well, actually, it was the last song I wrote with Harlan Howard before he passed away.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I had told Shelley that I'd cut the song, and I said, I think it needs to be a duet, and would you do it? And she was great. She came in, and she was just awesome.
Well,
and she told me one of the funniest Harlan Howard stories I've ever heard in my life, which was that she was supposed to write with Harlan one day, and he's like, I'm tired, I can't write, I don't feel like it. He said, come on, let's go to lunch. And so they rode over to this restaurant and bar that he loved to hang out in, and over there was Bobby Braddock, who wrote
Oh yeah, he's recently. I Want to Talk About Me.
All kinds of.
He produced the Austin Blake Shelton.
Blake Shelton, Austin. He also wrote "He Stopped Loving Her Today" for George Jones.
And he's had like more hits than
anybody.
It's bizarre.
And so anyway, him and then also Whitey Schaefer, who wrote all those George Strait hits. Thus Forward Worth Ever Cross Your.
Oh yeah. Wow.
So the three of them proceeded to get drunker than Cooter Brown and said, Shelley, you got to stay sober because somebody's got to drive us home. And she took them from bar to bar to bar and listened to all these stories about all the old days and, back when they were hanging out with Willie Nelson and Roger Miller and in the 60s, and just hilarious stories. Drove them all home at midnight that night, drove Harlan's big Cadillac back to her little apartment, parked it there, and then give him back to him for 2 days.
That must have been.
We were just cracking up and just remembering what a great guy Harlan was. And Harlan and I wrote a great song. I'm really proud of that song.
The first single Shelley Wright ever released was a Harlan Howard song. He's a good old boy.
Oh yeah.
So that that must have been a great thing for her to cut that.
It was really sweet. It was really fun.
Okay, now this song called Godspeed.
Yes, sir.
Is on the new Dixie Chicks album. Is this true?
It has been re-recorded by the Dixie Chicks. It sure has.
For Home, that comes out on Tuesday.
Yeah, it sure does.
Everybody's going nuts.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to debut. That record, I would bet money, is going to debut as the most sold record in the U.S.
I have a feeling you're right, Radney Foster.
So. Okay. Yeah, I'm really proud of that. It's a song that's a lullaby that I wrote for my little boy, for actually now my 11-year-old little boy. But I wrote it for him when he was moving to France with his mom, and when he was 5, and so that he would have a lullaby. And I put it on a cassette 5 times in a row so he could play it at night when he was going to sleep. And so then I ended up recording it on my album, and a few years back, an album called See What You Want to See. And the Dixie Chicks heard me do it. Heard that record, but also heard me do it in concert, because I used to do it as my last encore, and they had always remembered the song. And I think after Natalie had a little boy, they decided they wanted to do that on Home. So
there you go.
I was really pleased. Yeah.
you look like you look a little hungry. I know you're up seeing Buck Oakins.
Yeah.
Oak Buckins.
Oak Buttons. That's no. Buck Owens. That's
there we
the guy,
go.
yeah.
That's it. And so here we are in the kitchen. Isn't this a nice kitchen?
It is a nice kitchen.
Somebody wanted to say hi to you real quick.
Sure.
Hello, Rodney. I'm James Bond. No, you're Sean Connery. You're not James Bond anymore. That's Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, he's a different guy.
He's a young little... All right, okay. What did you want to tell Mr. Radney Foster, Sean?
Well, first off, I want to tell him that he looks better than you, Matt Michaels.
All right.
And that's basically it. And if he could give me some tickets to his next show, I'll be happy. Now get out. I'm making something that's explosive.
No.
Yes.
All right, well, we're leaving. All right, and the last song we're playing is called What Are We Doing Here Tonight? What inspired that? That's a question I ask myself every
I was going to say, do you ever ask yourself that? You know?
And you always have the neatest glasses, Radney.
Thank you very much. You know, it's just, I have to wear them, so I might as well wear some cool ones, because there's no seeing without them, you know. And,
that's my philosophy, too. I ain't going to do the contacts.
well, you know what? I have such terrible allergies, I can't. I probably would have done them years ago, but I have terrible allergies, and I am not, as the doctors like to say, I am not a candidate for contact lenses.
Kenny Chesney is the same way. He's got to like leave Nashville once a year because of the allergies.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty bad, yeah.
So I just told you a little secret. Shh. Okay, but the album is called Another Way to Go, Radney Foster, and it's on Dual Tone. And any websites or anything you want to tell?
Yeah, they go to radneyfoster.com and they can get it autographed. I autograph them.
This has been an absolute highlight of my existence to be able to interview Radney Foster. I've got to tell you.
Thank you.
I'm being absolutely sincere about that. This is so cool.
Oh, bless your heart.
I feel like Chris Farley on the Saturday Night Live when he used to go, "This is great! Oh!" And he'd be talking to Paul McCartney and stuff.
There you go.
You're my Paul McCartney, Radney
Bless
Foster.
your heart, man. That's high praise.
All right, and here we go. Nobody wins. Thank you once again, Radney Foster.
Radney Foster on Mike's Daily Podcast, back when he was on the K Santa Fe Cafe. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley.
And here's today's podcast picture.
And the podcast picture was taken from the Hayward Hills, looking out towards San Mateo, Bruno, Carlos, all those sands over there in the peninsula. A beautiful sunset was happening, and I got that picture. You see, I think San Mateo Bridge is in there. And it's a really great picture. I hope you like it. MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Shelley, did you like the picture?
Mike Matthews, I like all the pictures you take. They're like so simple.
My pictures are simple.
Yeah, they're simple. You look at them and you go, oh, that's a picture of like some massive water somewhere.
I do take a lot of water pictures. Yeah, a lot of bodies of water pictures.
And there's the one that was taken of you by Haley.
Ding, ding, ding. We mentioned Haley once in this podcast, finally. There you go, Haley. That's for you. Haley's probably listening right now, going, why aren't I on that show? And why isn't Kevin on this show? Yes, Kevin was supposed to be on the show, but he got really busy. He produces a morning show for one of our AM stations, so I didn't get a chance to have him on. And even though he told me a fantastic story about Alton Brown, and he was actually on the stage of an Alton Brown concert. Alton Brown, the cooking guy from Cutthroat Kitchen, he used to have that show called Good Eats, and he does these shows where he gets up on stage and he'll pull people from the audience. He pulled Kevin onto this. I never knew this about Kevin. We were talking about Alton Brown, and I've watched a bunch of his shows, and we were laughing about how Alton can be so particular. You've got to make your own pepper. You can't use the pepper that you find at the store everywhere and it's cheap. No, you've got to make it yourself. Here's what you do. You find a tree, grind it down, then you've got to soak it in a cheesecloth for 12 days. Then, wait, you want to pepper something now? No, you got to wait another 3 years. That's great. Mike, I love Alton Brown too. Mike, I find Alton Brown very inspirational. You kind of look like Alton Brown. Thank you. Well, guys, I think that's it. I think that's going to do it. I think we'll come back next week. The Daily Podcast is still we are still true to our name. We are daily. Week daily anyway, but yeah. So join me for Country Crossroads Radio this weekend. Find it all over the internet. It plays on TuneIn and all kinds of places there. And you can look it up at countrycrossroadsradio.com. And we'll have a good time again next week. Haley should be with us if all goes well. And we will hear from the disgruntled fiddle player, the brewmaster, Benita. And the brewmaster hopefully will be coming out of his mug. At some point, we'll pour him out, and he'll be all fine, hopefully. And we'll bring you the much-loved news segment, This is Interesting, where we'll hear some interesting recent news stories. I just repeated myself. Anyway. Oh, I just used a filler. Gosh. Hates the Phone Boy podcast. Can't stop listening. I love pumpkins.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!